with the root. To present the same, we have Dr. Gopal Babuji. Let me introduce Dr. Gopal Babuji. I'll stop sharing the screen so that I can introduce Gopalji. Gopal Babuji is a professor with over 18 years of experience as a coordinator of Value Education Cell at Ajay Kumar Garg Engineering College, Ghaziabad, UP, India. Dr. Gopal Babuji has done his PhD from IIT Delhi on understanding inherent harmony and interconnectedness for evaluating an evolving socio-technological system. He has been contributing tremendously in the field of value education. As a token of appreciation, he has been awarded Outstanding Contribution to National Development Award from IIT Delhi Alumni Association 2023. There is much more to introduce you, Bhaiya, but we are more eager to hear from you about the UHV point of view. Over to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ishratji. Am I audible?
It's perfect.
Okay. So I am sharing my screen. Okay, so namaste everyone. Thank you for being present in this 9th International Conference on Human Values. So briefly, I will present UHP perspective for the need to address SDGs at the root level. So we all have little background about these SDGs. So these are goals adopted by United Nations member states in 2015. And these goals are considered as framework, which is aimed to create a better and more sustainable world by 2030. It comprises 17 goals and 169 specific targets that address the pressing social, economic, and environmental challenge faced globally. So it is presumed that these goals will address all these issues. Right? And if you see, to achieve these goals, various efforts worldwide are being made through various groups of environmentalists, social workers, researchers, politicians, NGOs, government agencies, etc. So worldwide efforts are being made to achieve this sustainable society through sustainable development goals. And if you see, one of the outcomes of these efforts is the awareness. So during the past 4 to 5 decades, there has been an increasing awareness and concern about sustainability, leading to various protocols and action plans like MDGs, SIG development goals, etc. So this awareness is increasing exponentially all over the world. And if you see the present data, we have made a lot of effort combinedly together. But if you see data and facts, so this PPT has some brief presentation about the achievement of our efforts. So you can see that if we move through the same pace as we are moving, so by 2030, 590 million people may still live in extreme poverty, in spite of making a lot of efforts worldwide. We can see 1 million meals of edible food are wasted every day. Similarly, there are many facts written in this PPT. I am not going to discuss it in detail here. But if we sum up these data, if we sum up this PPT, we can say that this data shows that we have made a lot, but they have had very marginal impacts at ground level. So the world is failing to deliver on the SDG promise. So we visualize to fulfill these goals by 2030. But at ground level, it has very marginal impacts. that we can see all the reports available on the internet, on the UN sites, etc. That's why there is a need to relook at sustainability more fundamentally. Why, in spite of good intentions, in spite of good efforts, we are not able to achieve these SDGs. That's why there is a need to relook at sustainability more fundamentally. So my next PPTs will explain this need to look at sustainability more fundamentally. So if we say, as a human being, we all want sustainability of happiness, prosperity, and its continuity. So if you ask any human being, what do you want? So fundamentally, he is aspiring for happiness and prosperity. And each one of us wants continuity of happiness and prosperity in our life, every moment, every minute. So fundamentally, we all want sustainability of happiness and prosperity for myself and for next generations. So this is what we are looking into for next generation. We are looking for ourselves also. But the question is, have we understood the real meaning of happiness? Have we understood the real meaning of prosperity? What preparation is required in everyone to live a sustainable life? So all these questions remain unaddressed. So we are looking for happiness through these goals, but the question is, have we understood the real meaning of happiness? And what preparation is required? That is, I am going to discuss here. So to live sustainably, right understanding in every individual is required. So right understanding means understanding of harmony in human being, understanding of harmony in family, society, nature, existence, because we are all interconnected. As I am living as an individual, as a member of family, as a member of society, as an integrated unit of nature. So till I have this interconnectedness perspective in me, I cannot live sustainably. So this kind of understanding is required in every one of us. With this understanding, I can fulfill relationship with others. I can recognize relationship with others, relationship with human beings and rest of nature. So once I realize this relationship, then it is possible to me to live a sustainable lifestyle. With this, I can identify my real needs, how much I required for my living. So right understanding in every individual is required. Relationship, fulfillment of relationship is required, and ability to identify my real needs is also required. So if one is prepared with all these three components, three aspects, then we will be able to ensure mutual happiness and mutual prosperity. So I can live with mutual happiness in relationship. I can ensure mutual prosperity while interacting with rest of nature. So this preparation is required in everyone. If you see nowadays, we are not talking about right understanding. We are not talking about relationship. We are talking about only material, physical facilities. So somehow our worldview has changed. Now our worldview is materialistic. So everything we look from the materialistic perspective. So if we are looking into this world from materialistic perspective, then I assume human being as a body only. If I assume human being as a body, then my happiness has been primarily visualized in terms of consumerism and maximization of sensory pleasures, which give rise to unlimited material needs. So if everyone is equipped with unlimited needs, everyone is desiring unlimited material needs. So it is not possible to fulfill everyone's need with our planet's limited resources. Therefore, due to this materialistic perspective, I consider nature as a resource, not as an integrated unit. So we are treating nature as a resource to be exploited by human beings to any extent. thus violating inherent interconnectedness, coexistence, and dynamic balance existing in nature. So this unsustainability is fundamentally because of our materialistic perspective. So unsustainable development is because of our unsustainable lifestyle, and this unsustainable lifestyle is because of our perspective. And due to this materialistic perspective, we are trapped into this dilemma. If we discard the present model of development, how else do we live? And if we continue it, shall we at all live? So now we all are trapped into this dilemma. So if we see all these issues which are being tried to fulfill through SDGs, actually these issues are of our materialistic perspective. So due to our materialistic perspective, we are living materialistic lifestyle, and due to this lifestyle, all these goals are in the form of its ill effects, is because of our unsustainable lifestyle. So to move towards this sustainability, we need to change our perspective. So we need to shift our perspective from materialistic perspective to holistic perspective, holistic worldview. So with this worldview, I will be living with right understanding in myself. I will be able to recognize relationship with human being, and I will be able to recognize my needs properly. So to live sustainably, to achieve sustainable development goals, I need to have this holistic worldview that ensures right understanding, relationship, and physical facility. And with this holistic worldview, I can ensure mutual happiness with other human beings and prosperity with rest of nature. So this shifting is required in holistic, from materialistic perspective to holistic worldview. With this worldview, UHP perspective proposes that human being is a coexistence of self and body. So human being is not only a body. There is a consciousness and a materialistic body. So human being is a coexistence of consciousness and material. So if we are looking towards happiness, we need to fulfill needs of body and needs of consciousness. Both needs to be fulfilled by us. If we look happiness from this holistic perspective, then happiness can be understood as harmony at all levels of living. So from UHP perspective, it is proposal that happiness is understanding of harmony at all levels of being. If we look from this holistic perspective, then we can redefine prosperity. So with this holistic worldview, prosperity means a feeling of having more than the required physical facility. So if we are pursuing this kind of happiness, this kind of understanding, then sustainable will follows naturally. We need not to make extra efforts. So efforts is required to shift from materialistic perspective to holistic perspective or holistic development. So holistic development can be ensured through holistic worldview, and holistic worldview, for holistic worldview, we need to have right understanding in the self. We need to have ability to recognize relationships with human being and rest of nature, and we need to our physical needs in coordination with rest of nature. So this is all from my side, SIG. This is UHP perspective regarding SDGs, human being, happiness and prosperity. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Gopalji. Like as you have presented in your UHP point of view, worldwide efforts are made to achieve SDGs. But is sustainability fundamentally addressed is what was questioned. And for that one, from UHP point of view, it is needed to have mutual happiness and mutual prosperity that is possible with the right understanding in relationship and right understanding about physical facilities. And that is possible when there is a shift of perspective from materialistic perspective to a holistic worldview perspective. Thank you so much for presenting an overall UHV point of view. Before we proceed further, there is a poll for our panel delegates who have joined us for this session. And before I introduce the panelists, there's a one query. There's an attendee who is raised his hand. Ashwin Kumar Pathakji, mic is provided to you. You can put forward your query to Gopal Babuji. You have raised your hand. If you have any query, please put forward your question. Okay. So till we receive the poll results, let me introduce our panelists for today's session. We have Dr. Syed Mohammad Haider Rizviji, who is a professor and head of Center of Psychology and Behavioral Sciences at Shulin University, Solan, Himachal Pradesh. Thank you so much, sir, for accepting our invitation. He is a PhD in clinical social psychology. He is a postdoctorate in communication from Sheffield Hallam University, UK. Has 22 years of experience of planning, management of academic research, and human development programs, especially related to the SDGs. He is an SSA consultant with UNICEF Office of MP Madhya Pradesh. He is a director, policy analysis, or autonomous think tank of Government of MP. Thank you so much, sir, for being with us. And we have another panelist, Dr. Rashmi Gujarati ji, who is a professor of management, director, IQAC of PCTE group of colleges. She has 35 years of teaching experience. She is a visiting professor at various universities of Asia, Europe, US, UK, etc. Conducted over 200 plus sessions, published 250 plus papers. She is an editor-in-chief of International Journal. Rashmiji, we are glad to have you with us as a panelist because you have not only have a vast academic professional, but you are a regulatory board member, scientific review committee member, advisory board, editorial research project, and many more national and international bodies. So your profile goes on and on. Thank you so much for being with us. Thank you, Rashmiji. Now our next panelist is Shri Sunil Suji, who is just 69 years old, but is an active person with over 46 years of experience in HVAC, air pollution control, energy conservation, efficiency, renewable energy, sustainable development, and education. He has conducted 100 energy audit studies as he is deeply involved with activities related to energy conservation and efficiency, home energy and resource management for sustainable development has been his ground level initiative, conducted many training programs and awareness sessions with respect to energy conservation and sustainability. He is promoting the concept of Siksha 50-50 under Griha Siksha Kendra, which he has pioneered. Thank you, Sunilji, for joining this session with us. Thank you so much. Before we proceed, I think only 77% of people have participated. The question that was posted in the poll was about what is the primary objective of Sustainable Development Goals adopted by the United Nations in 2015. 97% of them have responded saying that to build a better and more sustainable world by 2030. Thank you all for participating in this poll. And panelist who is there with us is Dr. Geeta R. She is a principal from SSRM College. There are too many degrees to read about it. Your profile, ma'am, like your MA, MPhil Economics, MBA, PGP, DSBA from University of Texas, Austin, PhD from UOA, Malaysia, KSCET qualified CBT practitioner. She is the Women Principal of the year 2024, acknowledged among top 10% of authors globally on SSRM. She is also having an Elsewhere Award for the Principal of the Year at Education Awards LREA 2023 by London School of Digital Businesses, UK. She has many more accolades to her credit. Thank you so much for joining us as a panelist. Now we have Dr. Sagar Manjreji, who is a VC from Mahatma Gandhi University, Meghalaya. He is having an accolades include ESF and Government of Maharashtra. He received Best VC Award, Rashtriya Shiksha Gaurav Puraskar, Mentor of Change at Atal Innovation Mission, Niti Aayog, Government of India. He has been contributing to academic community. He is an influential and visionary leader. Thank you, Sagarji, for joining our session today. So, with these introductions about our panelists, let us proceed further for the panel discussion. Thank you so much. I thank each and every one on behalf of ICHEV HVHE 2024 for joining this session as panelist. So let us begin our first question with Gopal Babuji asking, concerning the worldview, can you give one example of how the change in worldview can address the SDGs at the root? Over to Gopal Babuji. I repeat the question. Concerning the worldview, can you give an example of how the change in worldview can address the SDGs at the root? Over to you, Gopalji.
Thank you, Ishratji, for giving me such opportunity. So there are many examples that can be quoted, but I am giving one of them. So I can give example of Alan Redin Savory. So he is an ecologist in Zimbabwe, and in 1995 he worked on the problem of degradation of land, that is desertification. So as an ecologist, he worked on this problem, and very interestingly, when he tried to find out the reason of desertification, he found that this degradation of land is happening because of big animals, those animals which are big in size, like elephant. So he calculated and proposed in front of his government that because these animals are big in size, they overgraze and they destroy their habitat. And with some mathematical formulas and calculations, he convinced his government that if we kill all these big animals, then this problem of desertification can be solved. And because of appearance and mathematical formulas, government was convinced, and he approved killing 10,000 elephants of that habitat. And he killed 10,000 elephants. Then he observed the forest, observed the land. And over the period, he observed that land has degraded very fastly. He was thinking that land will revive because now overgrazing has been decreased, but it was not happened. What was happened was just opposite. Land degraded very fastly, and not land only. Whatever environment around the land, like river, forest, they all started degrading. Then he tried to find out the solution, why it was happened. And interestingly, he came up with a solution of so earlier he used to think that animals are individual. Now with the holistic grazing concept, he realized that all animals, trees, plants, we all are interconnected with each other. So animals like elephant, not only eating the grass, trees, they are contributing to the forest, they are contributing to the land by another manners. So he came up with the concept of holistic grazing. He collected many animals. He planned grazing of those animals. He left those animals to graze. And when these animals started grazing, by their own uh, by their own choice, then this land started uh, reviving again, and the whole forest was revived after a few years. And he realized his mistake, that because of his limited worldview, he killed those animals, and he accepted his mistakes in TED Talk. Right? So this revival of land has happened just because of shift in worldview. Earlier, he used to think that everything is individual, and problem of overgrazing can be solved in isolation. But later he realized everything is interconnected, and problem can be solved through interconnectedness. So he introduced animals again in forest, other animals. He started grazing to animals, and with this, in this manner, the whole land was revived. So this problem could be solved through change in perspective. So with this kind of approach, now we can say land was revived. So SDGs goal, above the land, below the land, water, everything was revived around their habitat. So this was the problem that was solved through the shifting in worldview. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Gopalji. As you have said, like if we don't have a worldview, then that's how the mathematical calculations, the academic, the materialistic perspective is coming into picture. With which the best example that you have given, the ecological scientist who has presented from Zimbabwe, his work will lead to a failure or can be a disaster also. So it's better to have a holistic perspective. Thank you so much for putting forward that example. Now I request the same question to Sunil Soodji, like how concerning worldview, can you give one example of how the change in worldview can address the SDGs at the root? Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much. First of all, I would like to thank Dr. Vancha Singh and the organizers. And actually, this is my first conference under this your foundation. So, and it's a good opportunity to interact with so many learned panelists. To be actually, I was just seeing the what are the desired outcomes of this discussion. What is expected from us? So I was prepared with the first one, that is specific recommendations and guidelines for the well-being of all. So leaving aside this question concerning worldview, because frankly there are so many worldviews. Everyone is talking the and understanding. When we are talking of the right understanding, we don't, ourselves don't know what is the meaning of right understanding. We don't know what are the right relationships, and physical facilities also, endless facilities we want. So I am a bit practical man. I have seen the world. I have been an activist. So much I have done, right from picking the garbage to cleaning the lakes, forests, tree planting, everything you talk of, I have done. But nothing much was happening. Then in 2018, I came to know that the root cause of all the problems in the world is our education system. Till then, I was never seen it that direction because I was a beneficiary of the system. Become engineer and got job, everything. So I never looked at from that angle. Later on, I realized that the real root cause, when we are talking of addressing the SDGs at the root, then the root is actually goal 4. Goal 4, quality education with so many targets, especially target 4.7, if you see, which is talking about the aligning the education with sustainable development and sustainable lifestyle. So yeah, I came prepared talking about that. So pardon me if I am not able to directly address this, because I myself don't know what are the world views presently. Everyone is talking different different ways. So my suggestion, specific recommendation I have come with is that we must strongly advocate that the complete hold of 100% formal education system needs to be addressed. Means the system that calls itself as education system, which is actually not even an education system, which is more like a qualification system, which only gives qualifications, but they call themselves as education. What is the meaning of education also not prescribed clearly. So my suggestion, I come with is how all the SDGs actually can be, and I've also seen one thing that people take SDGs in a different way. They think it is agenda of someone else. It is, in my view, because I've been an energy and sustainability consultant. I was in charge of sustainable development in my company. It is not like that. Actually, these have been developed after so much of discussion by so many good intentioned people, and then they come out with that model of 5 P's of sustainability. And I have practiced it, that if we don't do anything else, simply align every activity with 5 P's. That is, for the planet, sustainability; for the people, social sustainability; for prosperity, economic sustainability; and peace and partnership. So we have developed a model that where if somehow every activity can be aligned equally with equal time, equal attention, equal budget, and giving equal importance to all, then every activity, if it is aligned with 5 P's, including governance, bureaucracy, judiciary, mass media, education, every activity, not sector wise, activity wise. So this kind of discussions will automatically be included in that. So
Yes.
this is what I've come with, and my model of Shiksha 50-50, which Dr. Ishrat mentioned, is talking of that only, that 50% should be formal and 50% should be non-formal and informal education. If we have that, then one day they are 50% of the time children learn what they can learn only in schools or colleges. That is basics, fundas, and whatever experiment they can do in school. That all can happen in schools. And whatever required, connecting with nature, connecting with culture, connecting with their own world, and all that, connecting with the world's problems, solutions, and working for the solutions, that can happen next 50% time. But it is not happening because of the 100% hold of the formal education system. That is the real issue. So
Sir,
the root cause of that.
yeah, yeah.
This is
Thank
what
you.
I wanted to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. So, as you have presented with your answer, that it's the education which is the root cause that should be addressed if we want to have the worldview and change the worldview so that the SDGs can be addressed. I hope I'm audible.
Pardon, please can you
Yes.
repeat it?
Am I
You are
audible?
audible. You are audible, Ishratji.
Okay, thank you. No. As you have given your perspective that the SDGs can be addressed at the root if we address the educational system. So that is what is the perspective with respect to addressing the SDGs at the root. Thank you so much for putting up your perspective. From
Thank you.
your answer, let me proceed saying that do current educational systems adequately prepare future generations to address SDG challenges? Or is there a disconnect between educational priorities and sustainability goals? I would like to invite Rashmi Gujarati ji to answer this query. Like, do educational systems adequately prepare future generations to address SDGs challenges? Or is there a disconnect? Over to you, Rashmi ji.
Thank you, madam. And thank you very much for inviting me. And this is a very hot topic related with the sustainable development. And as we know that in 2015, the target has been taken by the UN, and overall, all the countries are focusing on the sustainable development goals. And as we know that there is a 17 goals, and each and every goals we are trying to work on that. The point is that in every goal there are targets, and approximately 169 targets are there which we have to cover. Now the point is that how we have to cover. Every person, every department is trying to be sustainable development. Now the point which question you have asked, that related with the education, it is a very important point, because once we see that if our students are well educated, then our nation is safe. This is the very important point which we have to understand. And we all are educationists, and we all are here from various respective colleges. So what, as I am the team member of the IQAC, we are focusing on the quality education. That is, when we talk about the quality education, it means that not only to give the bookish language, bookish study to the students. When we teach them related with the experience, then they will understand properly that how to work on it. Now, sustainability education means that if we say and teach in a normal way, the student will pass their year, their semesters, and later on they will forget that what they have studied in the previous semester. I have seen lot of the students, those, if we ask that which subjects were in your first year or first semester, they don't remember. So point that sustainability is here, that they should know that what they have studied in their class, what the teacher has taught them. Education is not depend only from the students. Education comes from the teachers, because what we are giving, same it is as like a machine, what we are, there is an input, that will be an output. If our education is good, if we are giving a good information, good knowledge, good practice, and how to be sustained on that point, that is very important. So if we talk about the goal for quality education, that is very important. And every, even if I talk about our AICT, our NAC, and the other UGC universities, all are focusing on the quality education. And nowadays, a NAC is very conscious about this, that all the colleges, those who are running their courses, they are giving the quality education to the students. Sustainable will be from here. If the education is sustained, then there is a every growth. If we talk about the sustainable goals, 17 goals, then there is a poverty, there is a health and well-being, there is a gender equality, there is a inequality, and another climate changes, life of land, which the Dr. Gopal has explained very well. And with that, these all things are very important, but not only to explain, or not only to tell others to be a sustainable, we have to work on it, be a practical. Once we start our work in the practical, then our students will be learned, and that will be the result of our future. Then it can be achieved. Otherwise, since 2015, the target has been took by the UN. All the departments, sectors are trying to transformation on this. But then also there is a very less results. If I talk about the poverty goal first, then we see that till now, if a lot of things are going, then also approximately 574 million people are living below the poverty line. Same thing in the education sector also, a lot of the students are not getting a education. So this is a very important to be a sustain in the society.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your point of view. Like education itself needs to be sustained, because education comes from the teacher, and as torchbearers, it's not just about education, but also the practice, being practical about whatever we say. is more important. That is, execution of the SDGs is one thing that can be addressed. So, as Madam has said, like there is a disconnect between educational priorities and sustainability goals. I would like to hear the viewpoint of view from Dr. S.M. Haider Rizviji. How do we address this? Do current educational systems adequately prepare future generations to address SDGs challenges? Or is there a disconnect between educational priorities and sustainability goals? Over to you, Haiderji. Can you please unmute yourself?
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yeah, perfect, sir.
Thank you very much for having me in this panel discussion. So, as far as you asked the question that whether there is a sustainable kind of arrangement in the education system or not for the sustainable development goals, I would like to first start with saying that, there is a connect at all levels, not only in the education system, but at the level of governance at various levels. There is a question, and it's a very, very evident question, that even after having so good intention, so good programs, policies, and laws at various levels, why we are not in a position to achieve the goals that has been set through SDGs? It's only because there has been a disconnect between various stakeholders at various levels. Same is true for education. Basically, in education, we have got different kind of discipline, different subjects, different departments. But do we interact? Do we mutually exchange our knowledge base to each other? We don't do that because we work in isolation. And the thing is, we need to be mindful that the whole, the soul, the atma of this SDG is interconnectedness. So that interconnectedness is very much missing. And also the other very thing which we must have, not only in governance parlance in general, but in the educational systems in particular, is the holistic approach. It means, when I say holistic approach, it means the different, the 17 different areas. Of course, they are there in education system, especially the higher education system, in terms of either they are having an advanced center, either they are having a discipline, there is having a course. So do we need to have a sort of arrangement, a sort of system where they all connect to each other to exchange the knowledge base, to supplement to each other? That's not there. So it means, Ishratji, there is a, very, very clear-cut disconnect. There is no interconnectedness in education system. Also, as very rightly said by Dr. Rashmi, that in education itself, there is no sustainability. So whatever knowledge, whatever competencies we give to our students, particularly on the human development areas, do we have a system to monitor? Do we evaluate once they are graduated from the institute? Do we have a system to see that how and to what extent they are going to apply in their real life situation? No, they are not. And also at the same time, one thing which which pains me, and like Dr. Gopal Babu was talking of, this worldview. So whether we are in a position to develop that worldview, that perception, that attitude in our education system, even if there is no, connection, but we need to make a deliberate effort to really develop that kind of values in our students, so that once they are going with that value. So when I say values, means value of collectivism, value of holistic approach, value of equity, value of diversity, value of feeling empathy towards the poor, value of understanding the cost of being hungry. So these are the values, and which is a must to be developed in educational institutions, especially in the higher education institutions, so that once these students who are going to the real life situations, they could really play some role this is the only way we can realize the goals and the targets set by the SDGs. Otherwise, there would have always been there's a disconnect in education institutions in particular, and otherwise in other human development areas in general.
Thank you so much, Heatherji. As you have said, the disconnect can be reduced between educational priorities and sustainability goals by having interconnectedness. And above all, there should be a holistic approach and a system for the knowledge base. And there should be a system for evaluation for the real-time application. That should be the approach of educational priorities. And above all, we should have developed the values in students. This is more important. That means we have to work towards value-based education system if you want to really address the SDGs. So thank you so much for your presentation about this query. Now I would like to hear from Geeta ji, Dr. Geeta, that what are the potential risks or drawbacks of not addressing the SDGs at the root level?
Yes, thanks for having me on the panel. Very good afternoon, everyone. I'd just like to, I feel that it's highly risky to not have sustainability embedded into the system. The main reason is, again, we are already seeing that the consequences of that being felt with the geopolitical shifts, the world wars that are happening and ensuing world wars and everything, all that negativity around the place. So all this is because that sustainability is not embedded in the system. Injustice, social inequity, and these things are all happening only because we don't have that sustainability. Kids are raised to understand how to make money. So that's what today's world is. And we should, it's a very good initiative of AICT to have this UHV cell in undergraduate programs. And it has made a significant impact because now they're all understanding how important it is to live sustainably. Just to tell about a simple example, actions speak louder than words, as we all know, as our previous panelists, Rashmi ma'am and Sir were telling. I could see that one teacher, she's a school teacher, she just asked children if we could reduce the electricity bill. We'll see who will be able to reduce the electricity bill. She said that, get your bills. So she started monitoring it over a period of 1 year. And then collectively, what impact we have made on the society. The electricity bill had gone quite low in every house. Children became more conscious. They started turning off the lights, insisting parents also to follow the same. And this definitely small impact of a teacher could, I think that mindset is embedded into the children. Same way in Japan, one visitor to Japan, Indian, who was strolling in a park in Japan, it so happened that a couple were walking towards him with a baby. And then there was a seller who came with a toy. So when that toy was, I think that seller asked the Indian to try. And that Indian person was strolling in the park. He just gave key and without unknowingly, and that toy went and hit the kid. Couple were carrying a small baby. It hit the kid, and then the kid started bleeding. Any other part of the world, I think parents would have gone fighting with the person, but that never happened. The parents came. Please don't. We are very sorry that you had to face this inconvenience. And then mother started just wiping the. It was not done. Curious to understand how in Japan this culture is there that people don't get irritated by things. They're in harmony, peace and harmony. How that got into their system. So they are sustainably more mature after Hiroshima and Nagasaki bombing. They have got to realize that it is very important to be at peace and harmony. And they've embedded this into the teaching. So when we're talking about quality teaching, kids are asked to clean their classrooms. They are asked to do their work themselves, and they all live in harmony. Everywhere peace is emphasized. Now, even a 6-year-old kid in Japan can travel freely. They're more independent, self-driven. It's all by practice. So when we instead of having more of talk on it, instead of professing more about it, I think we get the children to practice it right from the formative stage, can make a significant impact. So if we don't have this, the consequences are quite evident as we are seeing. The risks and the consequences that we are seeing are quite evident. Everywhere across the world, we see what is happening. People are more oriented towards, there are good people also in the world who are oriented towards positivity, towards harmony, peace, and then they have the right thinking, right understanding, and right approach towards life. So all this is definitely making, there is one set of people who are working towards it. And there are also other set of people who get agitated with simpler things, because all this stress, anxiety, all that we see today in children is because of various, that interconnectedness is missing, and also we have not embedded this into the system. Sustainability maturity is quite low when it comes to embedding this sustainability into educational system. We should all start tracking the progress. So we should have our own sustainability maturity model for individuals, for institutions, and for this society as a whole. How mature are we as an individual? Are we just having the knowledge of sustainability, or are we incorporating that into our daily lives? Or are we embedding that into our system, policy, practice? And such things definitely make a massive difference. Like if we talk about Sudhamurthy of Infosys, she is a living example. We talk about it, but not all of us are using that simplicity and being plain, simple, and in tune with nature. But she does it. She lives by example. And I'm sure all of us start embracing this change, and then we can reduce all the risks of this inequity, injustice, and disturbance of peace and harmony in the society. We understand how it is important to stay interconnected. All the goals are interconnected. If there is no quality education, again, there is no sustainable lifestyle. So similarly, everything is interconnected. Collective action can make a massive impact, and working in silos or trying to work on just one goal doesn't make a significant difference. That's what I think from my perspective. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. So as you have said that the biggest risk or the potential risk is not having sustainability embedded in the educational system. So it is more important that we have a holistic perspective, and our actions should speak louder. And it's important to have the consciousness. So that is where we have to realize what is the importance of self, because this is the one which can lead to the peace and harmony. It's by the practice, and at the formative stage, that is at the every level from the childhood. If it is incorporated, that's well and good. And above all, your question, point of view that we can address SDGs only when we can have the track of our own progress and embrace the change as a collective action. Thank you so much for presenting your viewpoint of view. I pose the same query to Dr. Sagarji, who has joined us, about what are the potential risks or drawbacks of not addressing the SDGs at the root level. Over to you, Sagarji. So can you unmute yourself?
Good evening, all of you.
Good evening, sir.
According to me, just Dr. Geeta said correctly, that we should incorporate that sustainable practices from childhood itself, because our childs are like a raw mud. We have to shape them. I remember in my childhood, we used to use the things used by our siblings, our elders. Nowadays, we are just focusing on the showcasing the wealth and showcasing the things to our generations. But as rightly said by the Sant Jnaneshwar Maharaj, one of the great critics on the Bhagavad Gita, Jnaneshwari, Duritanchi Timir Jao Vishwasva Dharma Surya Paho, Zoje Vanchil Totilaho Prani Zata. That means the message of the sustainability is given by the Jnaneshwar Maharaj in very 400, 500 years ago. And in the capitalist and the industrialist era, we forgot it, the use and the significance of the principles of sustainability. What happened due to that? There is a huge gap between the poverty and the power. poverty get increased, richer get rich. In the case of India, only 1%, less than that 1% of the population is controlling the 60 to 70% of the GDP of India, acquiring the wealth of the India, and only 3% of uh, the population is holding the less than that 50% of wealth. Due to which, what happened, causes the result of that, inequality get increase, then gender issue arises, because the whatever the wealth the citizen have with him, he want to spend it on the male child, due to which the that female child is not getting a proper education, not getting a proper nutrition. The another consequence, nutrition more in females than rather than male. Then uh, lost the peace of mind. So these are the interconnected things where we lost the principle of sustainability. We ignore the principle of sustainability. Nowadays we are facing these kind of things. The, I'm I'm not in the favor of adding the value education in the education, or not in the oppose of that, or not in the oppose of adding the skill education, and not in the favor of that. I'm in the favor by considering the today's circumstances where we have to focus on earning, because in previous days our ancestor, our parents and great grandparents are very happy and peaceful mind, because they have adequate wealth. Now, due to this increase in population, the wealth get divided, and nuclear family get arises, and again same thing happened. We forgot about the that piece, how we can manage ourselves in less, and we be happy, we become happy in the minimum resources. But that era get back, and now the demand of the era is earning. For earning, we should have minimum one skill, one perfect skill that can uh, save us, that can uh, survive us, that can help us to survive. So the combination of uh, our value education along with the skill. In Maharashtra, there is I'm basically from Maharashtra, so I know about that. There is a concept of Bara Balutedar. That means 12 different type of workers and 10 different type of communities are there, like a farmer, potter, then ironman. This is like our community. The skill is gained by the children from their parents itself. Now, this is also get is a past, but nowadays we should give such kind of skills along with value educations to our generation, that can reduce uh, the poverty, inequality, the environmental challenges what we are facing today. Just today's news, we
Yes.
Delhi is just a
Yes, sorry to interrupt you, sir.
yeah.
We are having a time constraint. We
Yeah,
need to
sure,
hear
sure,
from
sure.
other panelists also. Thank you
Sure.
so much.
Yeah.
Like from your point of view, that the biggest drawback is that there's a gap between poverty and power. And this inequality can be addressed only when we focus on value education. Value education, that too skill-based, value-based education, is the one which can bring about the change. And thereby we'll be able to address the SDGs at the root level. Thank you so much, sir, for presenting your views, sir. As you can see, like you have presented that the era has changed, and accordingly the priorities has changed. I would like to hear from Gopalji. Do you think that has been a worldview changes over the last few decades? Can you exemplify? Over to you, Gopalji.
Thank you, Shaji, again, giving me opportunity. So, if you see 19th century worldview, in 19th century, a fragmentary worldview was propagated. And according to this worldview, each unit was thought as isolation. But if you see 20th century, a number of revolutionary developments has emerged that shows there is a paradigm shift towards this existence. Now the new worldview is coming out, the worldview of interconnectedness, wholeness, coexistence. This kind of worldview is coming from each stream, from quantum mechanics, from quantum physics, from modern biology, from modern ecology. All these main streams are emphasizing that there is a need to change worldview of interconnectedness and wholeness. For example, if you see biological science, modern biology, now earlier it is used to consider that each cell of the body is working individual. But now in 20th century, it is considered that each cell is working in coexistence with the whole body. So, for example, 98% of the 10 to the power 28 atom of human body are replaced annually in interaction with the environment. Even one of the author scientists has quoted that all living organisms display behavior patterns that in favor of the whole rather than in interest of the individual. So each cell of the body is working for the whole. This kind of worldview is coming from modern biology. Similarly, if you see ecological worldview, there is a worldview of interconnectedness in deep ecology. Now people are talking about deep ecology. So deep ecology says that there is a deeper interconnectedness between each unit of this existence, where it is useful for a human being or not. But there is a deeper interconnectedness. So if you disturb one unit, you are disturbing whole nature. If you are accepting coexistence with one unit, you will accept coexistence with each unit of this existence. This kind of value is coming out from modern science. So for example, Gaia theory in ecology. So now Gaia theory proposes that the whole earth is a self-regulating unit. So it proposes that earth behave as a self-regulating mechanism, maintaining appropriate conditions for life on earth, facilitating human survival and meaningful activities. So now from Gaia theory, this value is emerging that the whole earth is working as a single unit. Now there is a need to change in education system also, because we have got failed. We are not able to ensure this worldview of interconnectedness, worldview of coexistence in our education systems. That why people coming from this education system, they are thinking with fragmentary worldview. That's why sustainability has become difficult for each of us. But this kind of worldview, we can ensure quality education. This kind of worldview can ensure social justice. This kind of worldview can ensure relationship-based economy, etc. So from 19th century, there has been emerging worldview. If you see the modern streams like ecology, quantum physics, in fact, medical science, biological science, all these are emphasizing the emerging worldview of interconnectedness and wholeness in the whole nature. So thank you, Isaji.
Thank you so much, Gopalji. The worldview has changed over the last few decades, because from the fragmented worldview, it has changed to an interconnected and coexistence worldview. And for this you have given apt examples of modern biology or the modern science. Thank you so much for presenting this view. I would like to hear about the same query from Haidarji as to, do you think that the worldview changes over the last few decades? Can you exemplify the same? Over to you, Haidarji. Can you please unmute yourself?
Yeah, Dr. Ishraji, could you please repeat your question?
Yeah. My question is, do you think there has been a worldview changes over the last few decades? Can you exemplify with about the same?
Yeah, certainly. And there has been a drastic change in the worldview, in the attitude, in the practices. Earlier we used to have in our societies, not only in India, across the world, about the cooperation, collectivism, mutual respect, and all that. Also, equitable distribution of resources. So there has to be a concern, within and between the societies, between the families. So we could see that during last 2-3 decades, there has been a drastic change in the worldview. There is a more of individualism, more of hoarding of resources. So these are directly impacting the sustainability. So sustainability across various human development areas. So now it has become more competitive. It has become more individualistic. It's not humane. So the effort which has been inculcated in our societies for in centuries has very suddenly diminished in a way. So and that we can see, like as very rightly said by Dr. Sagar, that 1% of the resources has been with I mean 1% of the people is having around 70 to 80% of resources, which is very, very unfortunate. It means the kind of resources which belongs to somebody else is not going and not reaching to them. Rather, we are now planning for our people, our families, our generations, maybe for the quite 7 generations, 10 generations. So that is the bad part. So certainly, I do agree that there has been a change, in the worldview, and wherein the other unfortunate part, Dr. Ishraji, is that our education system is also not in a way, I'm in a position to play a positive role, wherein they can develop that kind of, attitude, that kind of values in their students, in the other stakeholders. Now, recently, because of the NIC and other assessment, we talk of sustainability, across various areas. But are we really serious? Are we really, that our political will is there to really make that realistic and work seriously on that? Which I'm really doubtful. I don't say no, but I'm doubtful. So certainly, what view has been changed, and we really need to work very, very hard, very, very intentionally and seriously on this. Thank you.
Thank you. As you said, the worldview has changed, but the intention has to be focused about if we really want to address at the root, and the reality has to be taken care of. There should be an effort that has to be made towards the human society.
Yes.
Thank you so much for putting across your point of view, sir. Due to the time constraint, we could not further go ahead with the panel discussion, but definitely we have the time for Q&A because there are certain queries that were posted by our other panelists and also the panelists who have joined us on the YouTube, our participants through YouTube. So I would like to put across these queries. From long time, Lataji has been raising her hand. Over to you, Lataji. Mic is provided to you. You can ask your queries to our panelists. Over to you.
Am I audible, sir?
Yes, you're perfectly audible, Ji. Yeah, please go ahead.
I was asking whether what's the role of arts, because India was promoting arts from the very beginning. So what's the role of arts in reducing consumption and producing waste or reducing waste?
Any of our panelists would like to answer? Rashmi Ji, would you like to answer this question? Or Gopal Ji, would you like to answer this question?
Yes, Ishraji.
We try.
Okay.
See, the Indian knowledge system acquires a major part of the knowledge, specifically of art. And this art was developed from the era of Vedas. So it have definitely a significant meaning. Uh, just consider the art of cooking, like your that home science. What our IKS is telling, how is the food, how we should cook it, how we should optimize it, how we make it more nutritious, what value we can add in that food. So this is one of the part of art. Again, the art of dancing, music, then it is one of the kind of exercise. That time, the ladies like Bharatnatyam and Kathakali and other dance. So these arts act as an exercise, and the riyaz, we can say riyaz. People used to do daily riyaz of their art, their skill. So that skill make them healthy, happy, and from that hobby of that skill, they are getting wealth also. So this is the interconnection between that art and that SDG, and specifically Indian knowledge system. It's just my thinking. Any other expert logic? Maybe there.
Yes, yes, please. Excuse me. See, when we talk about the Indian knowledge system now, again, I will go that in our education system, we are focusing on the Indian knowledge system. Once we see that we were the first person who was running the Takshila University, if we remember that. And Takshila University was the first international university where the international students were coming and taking the education in India. Even the international professors also coming in our university, and they were teaching to the students. So we have to understand what was our system. Now, again, why we are talking about the Indian Sanskriti. We are focusing on the Sanskrit language. We are focusing our spirituality. We are focusing our, these all things, lot of things are there. In Takshila University, we remember that that was burned. The library was burned up to 3 months, and all the books which has been kept in that library, that was handwritten, which we say Hastalipi, and which was destroyed, and that copies are not available. So why our education system is focusing on, if we go in our new education policy, then also we can see that Indian university, Indian bodies are focusing on the IKS, and IKS is very important to give the information to our students, because students are not knowing about our previous system, what was there. So this is very important question and very important to focus on this. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sagarji and Rashmiji, for answering that query. There's another question in the panel to the panelists, like how can we effectively implement SDGs at the grassroots levels, particularly in schools, to ensure that both illiterate and barely literate parents and children benefit? The current language and approach are too complex for them to grasp. I request Gopalji to answer this query. Over to you, Gopalji. Shall I repeat the question?
Yes, Shraddha.
How
please repeat.
can we effectively implement SDGs at the grassroots level, particularly in schools, to ensure that both illiterate and barely literate parents and children benefit? The current language and approach are often too complex for them to grasp.
Yes. So if you like to see the school students, I will start from school.
I would like to say something about it.
Yes, sir.
I have been already. May I say something about it?
Yeah, let Gopalji answer, and then we'll hear your
okay.
view, sir. Thank you so much. Yeah, over to you, Gopalji.
So if you see students from school education, So if you leave student freely, and if you observe those students, they naturally will live a sustainable lifestyle. They take food when they feel hunger. They easily get intermingled with other students. They don't have pressure of caste, creed, rich, poor, etc. They easily get involved with each other. So naturally, they are unit of sustainability. Now it is our education system who is teaching otherwise. So if we support students' basic aspiration with our education curriculum, education syllabus, then these students can live sustainably. What is happening right now, if you see the whole education system, students want to live together, they want to play together, but somehow we are forcing them to be special. We want every child special, unique. And this speciality and uniqueness create differences between them. So in spite of motivating them to be natural, in spite of motivating them to live with relationship, we are throwing them into a tough competition. And somehow it is deviating sustainable lifestyle. So naturally they want to live sustainably, but our education system should support them, should support their basic aspirations. And the role of teacher and the role of parents are very important in this. So if you see teachers' role, students consider them as a role model. So if teacher is not living with sustainability, then it becomes difficult for students to live in a sustainable manner. So for school education, if I talk, there need to be raise awareness of worldview of sustainability in teachers. First, we must tell them how to live sustainably. We need to change their worldview. Then most of students will be following them. And it will help to address most of the problem of society at root level, because these students will come into an engineering college, these students will come in policies, these students will become teacher, etc. So school education is a foundation unit where we can prepare these students with the help of parents and teachers to live sustainably.
Thank you so much. Yeah. I would like to invite Sunil Suji to answer the same question.
Thank you very much. I would just like to share my own work since last 6 years. I've been working with the underprivileged children, first generational learners. They also go to school, but many don't have any other thing to do after school because they don't want to go to coaching institute also. Then what I have done is basic awareness I've created about through a play and outdoor activities. I take them outside and introduce to them this concept of 5P learning for the 5Ps. And they also do learning by doing and playways learning. All these concepts I have introduced for them, and because they also need some support, monetary support. So we have created certain activities which they generate some funds also for them. So what I'm saying that we should have community involvement, senior citizens involvement, and everything should not be left to only schools. Everything cannot happen in schools. What we say is whole universe is our classroom. So we have to do it outdoor, and we have to involve the community. We have to involve senior citizen experts like me. I have so much to give, and whom to give, we don't know. So at least underprivileged children, first generation learners, at least listen to me. But I have seen those who are little bit, just little earning they have, their parents don't want them to go out. They are not seen outside. They start thinking they are some Tata Birla sons. So only now I am having the underprivileged children. Their parents are not able to address this thing, and all these things can be actually better explained to this category only, I think. So if we can address at least the underprivileged first generational learners to start with, and leaving aside the creamy layer, which who they will never bother. Whatever hard work you put in, they are least bothered. Only this population can be now converted properly, and if we all focus on this population, and nearby all underprivileged children, their servants or some other working in a lower grade, and they we should involve them. That's all to
Yes,
start
sir.
with. Then
Yes,
only
sir.
there is some hope. Otherwise, there is no hope.
Yeah, aptly said, sir. Community involvement is more important, and it has to be reaching to the first generation onwards. We need to imbibe this holistic education, value-based education. Then only the need for addressing the SDGs at the root can be fulfilled. Thank you so much. I thank all the panelists who have joined us and have answered the Q&A of our other panelists, delegates who have joined. And before we proceed further, there are polls for our delegates who have joined us. I just this was the just is it launched? I am not able to see this. Is the poll
Yes.
launched?
Yes,
Okay.
now it is launched.
Yeah, thank you so much. I request our panelists, our delegates who have joined us to please answer the poll. Till now, only 40% of you have participated in this poll. It will be a pleasure if you answer the poll. We have one more poll to go about. That's the reason I request you to quickly answer your poll so that we can proceed for the next poll question. And in the meantime, I request I'll be handing over the session to Archana ji for the concluding remarks and the vote of thanks. It's only 55% who have participated. And half minute. I hope everybody is able to see the poll and able to answer the poll. It's almost 2 minutes, so that's the reason I'm ending the poll so that the results can be shared with you all. So you can see the sharing like according. The fundamental factor is needed to explore sustainability. 94% of the people are agreeing that developing a holistic worldview and the understanding of the interconnectedness is the one which can contribute. Thank you so much for your participation in the poll. And let me post the next poll. Gopalji, the results are shared, right? You're able to see the results of the poll?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Yes, I'll stop sharing. Yeah, we have the next poll launched. I hope you are able to see the poll.
Yes, Didi.
Yeah, thank you so much. This poll will be there for only a minute. I request you all to answer this poll quickly. Yeah, last 10 seconds. I hope you are able to see the results, like how does the UHV approach define prosperity in contrast to the prevailing materialistic worldview? That is possible if we have a feeling of adequacy in fulfilling well-defined material needs in harmony with nature, wherein 91% of you have agreed to it. Thank you so much. Thank you all for joining this panel discussion. Over to you, Archana ji.
Yes, thank you, Didi, and thank you, everyone. It was indeed a wonderful discussion, panel discussion based on SDGs and with the UHV perspective. I would like to extend my heartfelt thanks to our esteemed
I think she joined.
and thank our mentor Gopal Babuji for his deliberations as panelist and also for meaningful. Am I audible?
Yes, yes.
Yes,
Yes.
please go ahead.
Okay. For meaningfully placing UHV point of views for addressing the SDGs. I also thank Ishrat ji for her role as moderator, which she carried out with total effectiveness, and also Vanchana ji for her presence to monitor. So with this, we call for the day 1 of the conference, and we are keen to have you tomorrow, day 2, again joining us in the plenary to listen to second keynote address, that is on education for harmony in relationship from family to world family. So thank you once again. Thank you all for joining us.
Yeah. Before we close the session, let me make an announcement that after closing of panel discussion, we can participate in networking in the expo. And if we wish, we can also participate in Shift 2 sessions as well, because there will be new panels and new sharing sessions also. So do join us in the Shift 2 also, and we'll see you tomorrow once again. Thank you all. Please
Thank
do
you.
join us in the networking also. That's how we can get connected with each other. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you to all our YouTube who have joined us, and also the panelists, delegates who have joined us for this session. Thank you so much.
Namaste,
Thank you
everyone.
very much. Namaste.
Namaste, everyone. It was really nice listening to you all. Nice.
I think we can end the session.